My beloved child, they have already conspired together, and your name is now on the list of those who must be silenced, not by the sword, not by the fire, but by tangled thoughts, by heavy emotions that are slipping into every small corner of your life. If you merely skim over these words, it is very possible that you will not even realize when they first stepped into your life. I declare to you this: when the enemy cannot touch your life itself, it will do everything it can to make you walk away from the very position where I have placed you. It does not need to kill you, it only needs to make you believe that you are useless, that your time is over, that you no longer carry any value in my purposes. But I say to you today, if you learn to recognize the two forces at work in the darkness, you will no longer be prey. You will become a warrior who knows exactly what you are fighting for. My child, let me tell you about a man who was once targeted just as you are now, not by sword or spear, but by a subtle scheme meant to make him give up on his own. That man was Daniel. Those who envied him knew they could find no fault in his work or in his life. So they touched the one thing that was inseparably bound to him, his life of prayer. They established a decree to force him to stop kneeling before me, to make him cut off his spiritual connection with me if he wished to remain safe. My child, do you see? The plan was not to kill him instantly, but to make him choose to relinquish the very thing that was his strength. Yet Daniel opened his windows as he always had, knelt down, and continued to pray. And I shut the mouths of the lions. The battle did not begin in the lion's den. It began in that room where he had to decide: remain silent or remain faithful. In the same way, my child, many battles in your life do not begin with noisy crises, but with very quiet choices. Will you still rise to pray? Will you still dare to speak what I place in your heart? Will you still dare to keep walking when you are misunderstood? The enemy wants to pull you to that breaking point where you say to yourself, "That's it. I'm stopping here." It uses people's words, circumstances, and emotional pressure to push you into resigning from your very own calling. But I did not create you to live as someone who is always on the verge of giving up. I created you to walk through those schemes with an awakened heart, fully aware of where you are being attacked. Today, I am not only comforting you, I am exposing the strategy of darkness so that you will no longer remain in confusion. You are not a victim drifting along with emotions and circumstances. I am drawing back the curtain so you can see there is a real war taking place around your life, a war aimed at your voice, your calling, your boldness, and your spiritual position. And so that you are not swept away, I will lead you step by step, showing you the quiet blows the enemy is using, starting with the most dangerous one when it hardly needs to do anything, except lure you into disqualifying yourself from the battle. My child, you have often thought that the most terrible attacks are the big events, the sudden sickness, the financial collapse, the doors slamming shut one after another in front of you. But I tell you a quieter and sharper truth. The most dangerous blow is not when you are struck down from the outside, but when you quietly withdraw on your own. The enemy is wise enough to know that your life is in my hands. So it changes tactics. It does not rush in to wrestle for your life. It slowly assaults your mind so that you constantly feel confused. It lays an invisible weight upon your heart so that your joy and boldness gradually fade. It causes the relationships around you to crack, to fall out of sync, to be filled with misunderstanding, little by little. It wants you to believe that you have no place, no value, no reason to keep going. And when you begin to shrink back, to speak less, to pray less, to obey less, that is when it smiles, because it has achieved what it wanted without ever touching your body. You walk away from the place where I put you. even while my arms are still outstretched in protection over your life. My child, there are times I see you sitting alone in your room, your heart weighed down, and you do not even know why. No one has touched you. No great crisis has happened. Yet there is a vague tiredness making you want to stop. That is exactly how darkness operates. It does not pound on the door. It comes in like a mist that slowly steals away your boldness. You begin to doubt your own worth, to ask whether your voice still matters at all in this vast world. But my child, I have seen every one of those quiet tears, and I declare this: it is not that you are weak, it is that you are under attack. And precisely for that reason, I want you to stay alert, so you do not confuse a temporary weariness with the idea that I am no longer using you. Do you know this? The enemy is so subtle that it does not need to destroy anything grand in your life. It only needs to make you stop believing that you have been chosen by me. As soon as you start thinking, my presence doesn't change anything, it has already planted in your heart a lie strong enough to paralyze your steps, a mind in turmoil, a heart under pressure, even simple conversations becoming difficult. This is not your true nature, but the silent arrow aimed at your spirit. I have never withdrawn my hand from you, but the enemy always wants you to believe the opposite. I know the moments when you feel invisible, as if everyone passes through your life without truly seeing you. But my child, I see you very clearly, and I am pulling you out of that invisible snare where you retreat into yourself without realizing that this is exactly the goal of the darkness. My child, once I watched over a servant of mine named Hagar, who carried a burden in her heart that no one understood. She ran into the wilderness because she felt despised, abandoned, treated as if she had no value in anyone's eyes. She was not killed. She was not chased by swords and spears, but the feeling that no one needs me made her want to disappear from the world. And there, by a spring in the desert, I called her by name and told her that I had seen all her wounds, and that I had not turned my face away from her. My child, that story mirrors what you yourself are facing. Darkness did not try to destroy Hagar with violence. It made her run away. But I went out to find her, just as I am seeking you now. My child, let me say this plainly but gently. What is breaking your heart is not your circumstances, but the lies you have unknowingly been feeding in your heart. At times you think others do not need you. In reality, it is the enemy whispering such words into your ear. There are days when you step into a gathering, and even though everyone is talking and laughing, your heart is sinking into a nameless darkness. That is not the truth. My child, it is a tactic to make you walk away from community, to leave the very place where I have positioned you. I want you to know that your presence shifts the atmosphere. Your voice carries a spiritual weight that the darkness greatly fears. That is why it wants you silent. But I want you to keep speaking. My child, I know those mornings when you open your eyes and your heart feels as heavy as stone. Things that once felt simple now become a vague source of fear. No one is attacking you directly, yet you still feel as if you are being pushed out of your own place. That is how darkness works, by draining your spiritual vitality, not by destroying your physical body. But I declare to you that no accusation has the right to drive you away from the place where I have called you to stand. You are not invisible in my house. You are not excluded from my plans. You are not forgotten by me, not even for a moment. You are simply passing through a temporary darkness in order to learn to discern which voice is from me and which voice is from the enemy. My beloved child, I want you to see one thing clearly. The silence you are sinking into is not wisdom, it is a snare. I did not create you to live in a gray zone where you only exist without having any impact. I brought you into being to bear light, and light does not shrink back from darkness. The enemy tries to choke your boldness because it knows that every time you open your mouth, Truth rings out and shatters chains in the lives of others. So it strikes at that very voice, making you tired, hesitant, and convinced that your words no longer have any effect. But I declare your voice is still strong, still sharp, still anointed by me. My child, I know those times when you feel overlooked, as if your contributions draw no one's attention. But it is not that people are discarding you, it is that the enemy wants you to believe that, so you will leave before your season has fully ripened. When you pull back into yourself, it no longer has to attack you further. It simply waits for you to step out from under the covering I have placed over your life. This is the exclusion it desires, not that it drags you out, but that you walk away on your own. Yet I declare to you today, do not abandon your position just because the darkness wants that. Remain where you are, because I am there with you. My child, I want you to recognize the deeper cause of the heaviness pressing down on your heart. It is not that you have become weaker, it is that darkness has intensified its assault, because it knows you are drawing nearer to what I have ordained. Your mind is pulled in many directions. Your heart is more easily wounded, and even small things seem to make you falter. None of this is coincidence. When my light is about to break through a thick cloud over your life, darkness will always unleash this first silent attack to make you doubt yourself. But I remind you, you are not someone who breaks easily. You have been forged in my hands through many trials that you yourself did not fully recognize. My child, many times the reason you want to grow silent is not that you have nothing left to say, but that you feel no one is really listening. Yet the voice I have placed within you does not depend on people's responses. It depends on its source, and that source is me. When you speak what I say, those words will not fall to the ground empty. The silence you are being drawn into is not holy stillness, it is spiritual paralysis. And I do not want you to live in that paralysis. Remember what I spoke to Jeremiah when he wanted to be silent. My word was like a fire in his bones. So it is with you, that fire has never gone out. My child, many times you think that withdrawing is the way to keep your peace. But in reality, it is how you hand victory over to the darkness. The peace that comes from me does not make you retreat. The peace that comes from me makes you stand firm. I do not lead you into a faith that shrinks back, but into a faith that moves forward. When you feel like sighing and letting go, that is not my voice. It is the echo of discouragement trying to pull you away from the promised land. But remember this, I never invite you into a journey and then leave you to figure it out on your own. I walk with you in every step, even when your steps are the most trembling. And my child, in this moment, I want you to hear this deep within your spirit. You have never been removed from any of my plans. The enemy wants you to leave your post because it sees what you do not yet see. It sees the promotion that is drawing near. It sees the influence you are about to carry, the light you are about to burst into flame, the door I am preparing to open, so it feels it must move first, before you realize that I have been preparing you for something greater. But do not be afraid, and do not let your heart be troubled. I will not allow you to fall into that trap. You are standing at a point of transition, and I want you to stand firm so you can step into the deeper level I am about to reveal to you. My child, draw near to me and listen slowly, for what I am about to say is not to frighten your heart, but to bring it into light. There are battles you think are only passing sadness, a few careless words, a few glances that make you stagger. But in truth, they are the traces of two forces as ancient as the days of the prophets and still strong enough to make people today step back. The whispers of discouragement you hear inside, they do not originate from you. They are arrows that wear down even the smallest hopes in you. And the invisible pressure that pushes you to act out of fleeting emotion, that is not how I lead you. These two currents of attack always move together like twin shadows clinging to the footsteps of the light. My child, I speak this not to confuse you, but so that you will know you are not weak at all. You simply need to see clearly the one that is trying to bend your soul. My child, discouragement does not arrive with noise. It comes like a familiar guest to whom you unknowingly open the door. It tells you that your efforts change nothing, that your prayers never reach the heavens, that all your labor is in vain. You hear those small echoes so often that you begin to think they are your own voice. Then, right when your heart is weak, manipulation appears, imposing thoughts that twist the truth, making you believe you must do something contrary to what is true in order to preserve a fragile, temporary peace. But my child, the peace I give never forces you to deny yourself. I want you to distinguish between these two voices, so that you are no longer led away in the fog. Do you know? These two forces are nothing new. They once targeted someone. Few people even noticed Gad, one of David's warriors. When he faced many battles, discouragement crept in because he was too weary to keep resisting, and manipulation came through the words of those who wanted to make him doubt David's leadership. They did not threaten him with swords, they distorted the truth, making him think that faithfulness would bring no fruit. But I protected him with discernment so that he could recognize that it was not my voice. And, my child, I am doing the same for you. I am separating the true voice from the false, so that you no longer hand over your soul to misleading pressure. My child, I want you to understand clearly why these two forces have chosen this time to surround you. It is not because you are weaker than before, it is because you are drawing near to a new spiritual territory the darkness greatly fears. When you come to the border of breakthrough, discouragement strikes from within to weaken your spirit, and manipulation strikes from without to twist and overturn your circumstances. It aims at your heart first, for if you are shaken inside, you will have no strength left to face the pressure outside. But my child, what it cannot foresee is this: I have placed within you a heart that knows how to listen to me. And when you turn toward me, every lie will be exposed like mist before the sunlight. My child, have you noticed, when discouragement floods in, you easily slip into a gray zone where you no longer see clearly what is right and what is wrong. And it is precisely then that manipulation begins to direct your steps with a pressured voice, pushing you to make decisions by emotion instead of by the wisdom of the Holy Spirit. It makes you think, this is the only way, while I am opening another path you have not yet seen. It makes you believe there is no better solution, while I am preparing an escape you have not yet recognized. My child, you must know that this hurried, forceful urgency never comes from me. I lead you by peace, not by pressure. And my child, discouragement always targets what you long for the most: your calling, your voice, your faith, your faithfulness. It wants you to give up before what I have promised has had time to take shape. Manipulation, on the other hand, aims at what you cherish: your relationships, your good name, your stability. It wants you to choose the easy way, even when that is not the way I desire you to walk. When these two forces join hands, they build a hazy wall that makes you think your future is fading away. But my child, that wall is not real. It is only a veil of smoke meant to hide the path I have already ordained for you. My child, I do not blame you when you feel your heart being swept into that weariness. I do not rebuke you for the times you have wanted to give up. I understand your frailty better than you understand yourself. But I do not want you to stay there. I want you to lift your head and remember that I have conquered discouragement with hope, and I have shattered manipulation with truth. When you return to the truth I speak, every weight pressing upon your soul will fall off like chains that have already rusted through. My child, come back, not because you are strong, but because I am waiting to be strong on your behalf. Let me say this again, as a gentle invitation: you were not born to be governed by any voice but mine. You were not formed to live in discouragement, for the nature I placed within you is resilient. You were not created to yield to the pressures of people, for you belong to the light and not to the darkness. When you step toward me, layer after layer of lies will fall from you, and you will see clearly that discouragement is not your identity. It is only a gust of wind trying to extinguish the lamp I have lit within you. And my child, no darkness can put out the light that I, myself, have kindled. And when you realize this, my child, you will see something wondrous. The moments you thought were your weakest are in fact the places where I am preparing new strength for you. Two forces may be trying to pull you down, but it is precisely in that season that I am building you up. Discouragement makes you bow your head, but I use that lowering to lift you closer to the very ground of my presence. Manipulation wants to cloud your sight, but I use that very darkness to help you distinguish the true voice more sharply. And when you stand firm through this battle, you will enter a stage where exhaustion no longer frightens you, because you have learned that I am always present in those very moments. There seem to be moments, my child, when the very breath within you grows heavier for no clear reason. The rhythm of life is the same. The people around you are the same. Yet your heart suddenly wants to collapse, as though strength were slowly draining from your hands. This is not because you are powerless, but because you are touching the boundary between the old and the new, where darkness always tries to wear you out before you can step into what I have ordained. When weary thoughts crowd in, the enemy wants you to believe you have come to the end of the road. But my child, I see the hilltop right before you, and I know that in just a little while, your vision will open in a way you have never known. The light I have for you does not go out in the hours of fatigue. It is in those very hours that it shines the brightest. My child, the enemy always chooses the very moment when your heart is most fragile to lay an invisible burden on your shoulders. It does not need a sledgehammer to shatter your soul. It only needs to make you believe that you no longer have it in you to take even one more step. And when your mind is stretched thin, it pours in a counterfeit feeling that all your efforts in these past months have been meaningless. But my child, I declare that not a single drop of your sweat falls without being remembered by me. The days when you are utterly worn out are not signs that you have failed. They are evidence that you are going deeper into the journey I designed. Do not be quick to see your weariness as the end. See it as a sign that a shift is drawing near. There was a time, my child, when I set my eyes on Hezekiah, the king who had to face a prophecy of death when his strength was gone and his heart was in turmoil. He turned his face to the wall, not to run away, but to pour out all his despair into my presence. The enemy believed that moment was the perfect time to extinguish his faith, for he had nothing left to cling to but prayer. Yet right in that seemingly dead-end situation, I overturned everything, added years to his life, and restored the faith that had been strangled. My child, do you see, where the enemy sees a final full stop, I see an opportunity to reveal my power. And you, too, are standing in a similar dark point, where I am about to turn your weariness into evidence that you are being kept. My child, I understand the confusion within you, the days when you feel that no one understands you, no one hears you, no one stands beside you. In those moments, the discouraging voice of darkness grows louder and makes you think that loneliness is the sentence I have laid upon your shoulders. But I tell you, this loneliness is not your true nature. It is only a curtain drawn so that your eyes do not see the host of angels I am arranging around you. And when your heart is breaking under misunderstanding, I do not see weakness. I see a tenderness that allows me to place a new strength within you. For it is precisely in the days when it is only you and me that I renew the breath, the strength, and the spiritual authority in you. You think you are abandoned, but in reality, I am drawing you into the place closest to my heart. My child, in the moments when you are exhausted, Darkness hopes that you will let go of everything: your calling, your voice, your faith, even your hope for the future. It believes that if it can drag you low enough for long enough, you will lose the vision I have placed in your heart on your own. But my child, remember this: there is no depth so deep that I cannot reach down to you. There is no night so thick that my light cannot break through. You have never stood alone in your weakest moments. I have been holding your shoulders even when you could not feel me. And it is precisely when you think you have nothing left to offer that I am preparing for you something you have never seen before, a maturity that no one and nothing will ever be able to steal from you. My child, I do not blame you when your prayer life feels heavy, when sighs and groanings take the place of petitions, when your heart is so weary that you no longer want to open your mouth. I know that this only means you are stepping into a greater battlefield, and darkness is trying to block your path before you can touch the victory. But I am merciful. I do not demand that you be strong in every hour. I only ask that you turn your face toward me, even if it is with nothing more than a faint breath. For a single breath directed toward me is stronger than 1,000 arrows of darkness. When you bring your real weariness and lay it before me, you will see me turn it into a steadfastness you never thought you could carry. And my child, when the time comes that you realize weariness is not the end but the doorway into a new level of discernment and authority, you will understand why the enemy is striking at this precise moment. It knows that with just one more step, you will begin to see what I am doing in your life, and it is afraid of that. But you, my child, do not fear. What is weighing you down today is the very material I am using to build you for tomorrow. When you grasp this, you will see that exhaustion is not a sign that you are failing, but a reminder that I am drawing near and that darkness is trembling at what you are about to become. My child, there are moments when your soul feels as though it is standing before an invisible threshold. No one speaks of it. No one points it out to you. Yet you sense a great shifting waiting just ahead. In these recent days, you have found everything becoming more sensitive. A single small word can stir your heart. A slight change in your circumstances can send you into long reflection. This is not weakness. My child, it is a sign that a season of breakthrough is drawing near. And because of that, darkness is forced to launch a two-pronged attack at once. It knows that if it hits only your emotions, you can still rise. If it hits only your circumstances, you can still manage. But when those two streams of attack converge, it hopes you will give up halfway. Yet, my child, I am here to prevent that from happening. Do you remember Nehemiah? The one I used to rebuild the broken walls of Jerusalem. As soon as he laid his hands to the work I had given him, two forces rose up. Sanballat mocked, belittled, and weakened his spirit, and Tobiah spread rumors, stirring confusion and threats from the outside. Their goal was not to kill him, but to make him voluntarily stop his own hands, to walk away from the assignment I had entrusted to him, convinced that this wall could never be finished. But you know how it ended. The wall was completed in 52 days because Nehemiah refused to let those two attacks drain his courage. My child, what happened to him mirrors the very battle you are facing now. These things are not occurring by chance. They are signs that you too are building a spiritual wall that darkness greatly fears. My child, before every breakthrough, there are always two voices trying to pull you off the path I have set. One voice targets the deep within the realm of your emotions, your confidence, your rhythm of prayer. It tells you that you are unworthy, that your time has passed, that your voice no longer carries any weight. The other voice strikes from the outside through circumstances, the words of others, the shifts in your environment, the relentless challenges that create invisible pressure. These two voices do not appear together by accident. They are part of an ancient strategy designed to separate you from the calling I have placed upon you. But I declare this, No one can erase the plan I have written over your life. My child, I know you have asked me in your heart, why do things become harder at the very moment when I am trying the most? That the answer lies in the very intensification of the attack that you feel. It is not that you have taken the wrong path. It is that you are drawing too near to the threshold of a breakthrough that terrifies the realm of darkness. The closer you step toward the light, the more arrows are hurled toward you. They are not meant to inevitably defeat you, but to test whether you will recognize your true position, that you are moving within my design, not within the chaos of this world. And my child, I never leave you standing in the middle of the battle without my covering. Look again at the journey of Joseph. My child, two forces struck him before I brought him into the place I had prepared for him. The betrayal of his own brothers made his heart bleed, and the false accusation of Potiphar's wife destroyed his honor. One attack struck his emotions, the other, his reputation. One aimed to wound him on the inside, the other to shut the doors on the outside. It was all calculated so that he would lose himself before his calling could be fulfilled. But my child, Joseph did not break, and those very two attacks became the pathway that led him to the throne. It will be so with you as well. There is no assault I cannot turn into a springboard. My child, what I want you to understand deeply is this: when pressure closes in on you from both sides, it is not a sign that I have abandoned you. It is a sign that I am lifting you higher. There is not a single shift of season in Scripture that came without a twofold assault, not because I desire for you to suffer, but because darkness panics when it sees you about to step into a new realm of authority. It must strike quickly, strike hard, strike both within and without, because it knows that once you pass through this moment, you will become someone it can no longer touch easily. My child, it is precisely when you feel the tightest squeeze that I am enlarging your capacity on the inside. And when you look through the layers of pressure, you will discover something that only those who go deep in faith come to know: what the enemy uses to block your way, I use to mark out your way. The outward upheavals help you release your dependence on people. The inner shakings teach you to stand on my foundation instead of your feelings. Those two lines of attack are not meant to end you. They are tests that confirm you are ready to step into what I have prepared. My child, when your heart opens to see the true purpose behind those crashing waves, you will no longer fear every time the wind begins to rise. You will learn how to read the signs of the battle, that when two forces rise up at once, that is the very moment when the season of breakthrough is closer than ever. And that awareness will lead you into an even deeper truth. Every scheme formed in darkness is exposed by me before it can ever touch your destiny. My child, there are things taking place in darkened spaces that the natural eye cannot see, yet your soul senses them as a subtle stirring around you. You do not quite know why someone's words suddenly feel as heavy as stone, why strange thoughts rush in as if to condemn you, or why the atmosphere in certain relationships becomes unusually fragile. My child, these are signs of words released in darkness, sent with the purpose of shaking your heart. But I declare this: not a single poisoned word is allowed to take root in you unless I permit it. I bring them into the light so that they lose their power before they can touch your destiny. You need only keep your heart close to me, and I will take care of the rest. Do you know this? My child, the enemy prefers to use words more than any other weapon, because it knows words can pierce to the deepest places of your soul. It sends doubts, criticisms, distortions, all to make you feel small, misunderstood, misjudged. Those are not my voices, my child. They are poisoned arrows aimed straight at your faith and inner stability. But I have positioned myself before each one of those words, and I break every arrow before it can wound you. No word can destroy the one whom I have anointed. Let this truth sink deep within you. You belong to my voice, not to the clamor of the darkness. My child, Remember, my beloved Son, when he walked upon the earth. Two groups rose up to try to remove him through words and accusations: the Pharisees, who fabricated charges in order to condemn him, and Judas, who let darkness enter his heart and then betrayed him with a kiss. One struck at his honor, the other at his heart. Yet in the end, all of those schemes became the road to a greater glory, where the cross became the symbol of victory rather than defeat. My child, if I overturned what the enemy believed to be the end of my own Son, will I not overturn the things that are now aimed at you? You too are in my arms, just as he was in my arms. My child, I reveal the plans conceived in darkness not to make you afraid, but so that you may walk with your eyes open. Every time a scheme is formed in hidden places, I stand there as a light piercing the night, exposing what has been concealed. I do not let you stumble blindly in uncertainty. I give you discernment so that you may know what is from me and what is from the enemy. When you grasp this, every accusation, every manipulation, every plot arranged against you will become as frail as dust in the wind, and you will learn how to remain standing no matter how fierce the storm may be. My child, what darkness thinks is a trap for you is in truth a stage on which I display my protection over you. When it raises accusations, I turn them into testimonies. When it tries to slam doors in your face, I open a greater door that no one can shut. When it attempts to silence you, I cause your voice to carry farther what it imagines to be a final, full stop. I transform into an opening into the next chapter of your life. You have never fallen out of my plan, not even for a single moment. My child, let this truth soak deep into your soul. No verdict of rejection written over your life can stand in my presence. I am the one who writes your destiny, and only I have the authority to alter it. When darkness tries to record its accusations, I place upon them the seal of the Holy Spirit, shutting every door it tries to raise up. False words will fall to the ground. The schemes devised in the night I will turn over in the light of day, and you will walk with the peace of one who knows they have been sealed by heaven. My child, this journey is not finished, but from this point on, you will walk with a lifted head that darkness can no longer bend. You have learned that plots formed in the shadows are not stronger than my light, and toxic words have no right to define you. You will no longer tremble at the voices on the outside, because within you, my voice has become your foundation. And from this very foundation you will be lifted into a measure of authority, discernment, and boldness that you have never known before. My child, I hold you, I protect you, and your destiny cannot be stolen. My child, listen deeply, because what I am about to whisper into your heart will reach layers you have never known how to name. You are not lost in this season, nor is it a coincidence that your spirit has become more sensitive, that your spiritual eyes have opened wider, and that your heart now perceives the subtleties you once overlooked. It is because I am leading you into a new phase, a season where every veil begins to fall, a season where what once seemed vague suddenly becomes clear, a season where you will recognize who truly stands with you and who only stands near you for their own gain. I am not doing this to make you bitter or defensive, but so that you will know how to protect what I have entrusted to you, so that you may understand your own worth, and so that you can move forward without fear of being pulled back by impure motives around you. I want you to see, not so that you may be wounded, but so that you may be kept safe in the truth. My child, in this season I will unveil intentions you never would have imagined. People may smile at you, yet behind that smile lie things you have not seen. People may speak words of support while harboring comparison and calculation in their hearts. People may appear close, yet are only seeking an opportunity to drain your joy. But I will not allow you to walk in a naivete that leaves your heart torn open. I will show you what flows from sincerity, and what flows from falseness wrapped in courtesy. I will show you which words are rooted in me, and which words are stirred up by darkness to herd you into a dead end. But, my child, do not be afraid when all things are brought into the light. See it as my love for you. I want you to keep going without carrying what slows you down. I want you to know clearly who is meant to go far with you, and who is only meant to walk with you for a short stretch of the road. My child, do not wonder why lately you feel as though you see through things you never noticed before. Do not be surprised if you find truth lying beneath ambiguous words, beneath actions that seem casual, or beneath relationships you once believed were unshakable. I am sharpening the gift of discernment within you, like a blade forged in fire so it can rightly divide between true and false, light and darkness, those who are mine and those who merely wear the mask of goodness. I am not doing this so that you become suspicious of everything, but so that you can stand firm in the storms to come, so that you are not led away by your feelings, so that you can keep your perception clean. For you are the one I have chosen to carry light into places where much darkness still hides. I will not allow that light to be covered by deceiving whispers. My child, you must understand something that very few dare to truly believe. Once I have set my seal upon your life, no power can remove it. No one has the authority to strike your name out of the purpose for which I formed you. No one has the right to lock a door I have opened. No voice is strong enough to silence the one I have anointed. They may gossip. They may think evil of you. They may weave distorted stories, yet all such words only echo in the air. They cannot penetrate the place I have sealed. You belong to me. That means you stand in a position where darkness cannot touch your soul, even when it uses every scheme it knows. It is not angry with you because you are weak. It is angry because you are in my hand, and it cannot act as it pleases. My child, because it cannot destroy what I have built around you on the outside. Darkness chooses to attack you from within your peace, your joy, your focus, your clarity, the steadfastness of your soul. It wants you exhausted. It wants you doubtful. It wants you comparing yourself to others. It wants you to look at your circumstances and conclude that I have forgotten you. It knows that if your heart wavers, your steps will slow. And if you slow down, you will miss the moment I desire to lift you higher. It cannot destroy you, so it tries to drain you of inner strength. It cannot strip you of your calling, so it seeks to make you doubt that calling. It cannot extinguish the fire I placed in your heart, so it works to make you believe that flame has grown small. But my child, let me speak this deeply into you. I am restoring everything. Darkness has tried to twist inside you. I am lifting your mind above the noise of restless words. I am setting a strong shield around your thoughts, so that the arrows of doubt can no longer pierce them. I am pouring fresh oil upon your head so that your insight becomes sharper than before. I am making your understanding so clear that no lie will be able to stand before you. I am breathing courage into the places where you once trembled. I am rebuilding the places where you once collapsed. I am strengthening the places where you felt you had nothing left to stand on. You are not alone in this process. Every step you take is held within my guidance. My child, the days when you feel heavy are not proof that you are on the wrong path. They are signs that you are walking so rightly that darkness must marshal all its strength to hinder your steps. If you were insignificant, the enemy would not bother with you. If you carried no influence, it would not labor to weaken you. If your destiny were small, darkness would not have spotted you from afar. But my child, the very agitation of darkness is evidence that you carry a spiritual weight. It fears. It sees what I am preparing you for before you see it yourself. It knows the sphere of influence you are about to enter. It knows the lives that will be set free through your voice. And it is afraid of that. My child, I will not allow its fear to become your fear. I am granting you a new steadfastness, a strength that does not come from your own striving, but from my presence, wrapping around you day by day. When you breathe, I am there. When you fall silent, I am there. When you do not know what to say, I stand right beside you. When you lose your way, I shine upon the path. When you are weary, I lift you with a strength beyond your understanding. I do not let you face darkness alone. I step in with you, so that darkness understands it is confronting the one it cannot overcome. My child, many of the things you think you are losing are merely being reshaped in my hand. You think you are becoming weak, but I am softening your heart so that a deeper strength can be sown into it. You think you are being separated from certain people, but I am protecting you from relationships that do not bring life. You think you are being forgotten, but I am hiding you from eyes that would harm you. You think your season is slowing down, but in truth I am preparing a leap you have never imagined. My child, let me whisper one last thing in this passage. Like an embrace around your soul, no one can rewrite the story I am writing for you. No plan formed in the dark can stand before my light. No accusation can erase the anointing I have placed upon you. No power, however strong, can overturn the nod of approval I have given you. You are sealed. You are kept. You are covered. And you are stepping into a season where every fear will melt away like mist before the morning sun. And my child, as you move forward, you will sense clearly that what is happening is not a threat, it is preparation. I am preparing you for a stretch of the journey that only those who have gone deep in me are able to walk. You are not being brought low, you are being lifted up. You are not being excluded, you are being chosen to stand in a place where darkness cannot reach you. And this journey, my child, is only just beginning. My beloved child, incline your heart and let me lead you deeper into the portion of truth. My light longs to shine down to the very bottom of your soul. For what I am about to speak is not only a word of comfort, nor merely a word of warning, but a word that opens a door, throwing wide a door that allows you to recognize that the path you are walking is not a string of chaotic, meaningless days, but the continuation of a very long story that many generations before you have already lived, already fought through, already wept through, and already overcome. You are not the first to be surrounded by darkness, nor are you the only one the enemy has tried to push out of the position I placed into your hands. Every wave of attack you have faced, every voice that has weighed down your heart, every whisper that has unsettled your spirit, these things have all been tested on those I chose long before you, in days when they did not yet know that your name would be written in the land of the living. And if they were not swallowed up by those schemes, then all the more will you not be. For I am the one who holds you in my arms, as a father holds a child learning to walk along a new path. My child, from the very beginning I have watched every breath you take, and I know there are moments when you feel as though you have been left alone on a vast battlefield, where words make you lose your bearings, where circumstances cause you to question, where your heart is unsettled and does not know what to believe. But I tell you the truth, nothing that happens to you is ever something new or strange to me. Everything you are going through has already been the battles of Abraham when he stood before a promise not yet fulfilled, of Moses when he stood in the midst of a stiff-necked people, of Elijah when Jezebel's threats crashed into his mind like a mighty storm, of Daniel when people conspired to choke his prayers, of Job when the world regarded him as one forsaken by me, of Peter when fear made him tremble, and of Paul when he was thrust into prison, yet still had to cling to a hope that would not die. Those stories are not merely distant history, they are fragments of a mirror reflecting the very path you are now walking. My child, whenever the enemy tries to make you believe that you are facing a battle that no one has ever known, that is the moment it is trying to cut you off from the spiritual inheritance I have prepared for you. It wants you to think you are alone, that the darkness is targeting you in particular, that you are being singled out because you are weak, because you are too tired, because you have gone the wrong way. But remember this well, the enemy never wastes time on those who carry no weight in the spiritual realm. If it is trying to remove you from the journey you are on, it is only because it sees the fire, the power, and the influence I have planted in your life, things that even you yourself do not always see clearly. It recognizes the light in you before you recognize it, and so it wants to break that light before you learn how to wield it. My child, look again at what happened to Joseph. I placed in his dreams a promise whose meaning he could not yet fully grasp. But before that promise took shape, he was betrayed by his own brothers, dragged down into a pit, and sold like a piece of merchandise. After that, he was falsely accused, thrown into prison, and forgotten in a dark cell. Seen with natural eyes, anyone would have thought his destiny was finished. Yet I turned every scheme against him into the very means of bringing him to the place I had appointed from the beginning. My child, do you see? The things that seemed intent on removing him actually became the bridge that carried him into the position I chose for him, a position no one could deny. And what happened to him is exactly what I will do for you. You think you are being pushed backward, but in truth, you are being drawn into an orbit your eyes are not yet accustomed to see. My beloved child, when I look at you, I do not see the frailty you are staring at. I see the whole journey I am writing. I see the seasons you do not yet know by name, the years you have not yet lived through, the doors you have not yet touched, the people you will influence, the words you are about to speak that will carry the power to change other lives. And because of all that, the enemy is compelled to act. It throws disheartening words into your ears so that you question your own worth. It shakes your relationships so that you think you are a source of trouble to those around you. It stirs up upheavals so that you imagine you have veered off from my will. But, my child, every voice that makes you shrink back, that makes you want to leave the place I have given you, that makes you want to fall silent, that is not my voice. What I speak to you today is not a temporary soothing word. I want you to understand that you carry within you a legacy of victory that the generations before you have left behind. In your soul you carry the perseverance of Nehemiah, the faithfulness of Daniel, the strength of David, the gentleness of Job, who still trusted me when he did not understand, and the restoration of Peter, who returned stronger though he had once fallen. You are not walking alone. You are walking in the footsteps of those whom I upheld through schemes, much like the ones you are facing now. My child, what the darkness most wants to steal from you is not your health, nor your possessions. What it most desires is your faith that you are called by me, chosen by me, protected by me. It knows that someone who loses their possessions can still start again. But a person who loses trust in my guidance will step off the path I have set for them. And so it uses forms of spiritual exclusion, words that sow doubt, staged situations meant to make you hesitate, voices that make you think your own voice no longer has any worth. But, my child, I will not allow those words to take root in your heart. I declare that every word raised against you will fall to the ground. Every plan formed in the dark will be exposed, and every attempt to dim the light within you will be swept away by the breath of my truth. My child, I will rescue you not because you are strong enough, but because I have inscribed your name upon my heart. I protect you not because you never stumble, but because you belong to me, and I will not allow any power to rewrite what I have ordained. When you stand before a door that seems shut, I will open a new way. When you are misunderstood, I will bring your motives to light. When you are pushed into the shadows, I will cause your light to shine even brighter. My child, you do not know how strong you truly are when you are standing in my hand. So, My child, do not be afraid when you see the darkness grow thicker. It is only a sign that dawn is drawing near. Do not be bewildered when you hear words raised against you from those you never expected. I allow them to surface so that you may see who truly belongs with you and who is only a passing wind in your life. Do not tremble when you see circumstances change. I am adjusting your path so that you arrive at the place I desire without losing your way. Everything you are feeling, the heaviness, the conflict, the testing is all speaking the same thing you are. In the midst of a battle I have already won before it even began. My child, the last thing I want you to engrave upon your heart is this: every scheme against you must pass through my light before it can touch your life. No plan formed in the night is stronger than my will. No word can rise above my voice. No power can extinguish the light I have placed in you. You are not only kept by me, you are sanctified by me, set apart by me, watched over by me, step by step, and I will lead you through every darkness, just as I have done with generations before you. My child, you will stand firm, not by your own strength, but by me, the one who will never allow anyone to snatch you out of his hand. My child, come, sit a little closer to me, because what I am about to say needs to be sown deep into your heart, like a seed that cannot be stolen. You are walking a road that not everyone understands, a journey where even you, at times, cannot explain why you are exhausted, why prayer has become harder than before, why your heart suddenly feels as heavy as lead. But I want you to know a truth that only those who belong to me are allowed to hear. Not every tearing within you comes from the outside. There are attacks aimed directly at the most hidden place, your life of prayer, where your soul receives light and life from me each day. And it is that very sacred ground, my child, that is being watched by forces that long to snuff out the flame you carry. From ancient times, starting with my servant Daniel, there have been those who saw the difference in him and grew jealous of the wisdom I gave him. They could find no fault in his work or in his way of life. So they struck at the one thing that could make him fall if hit hard enough: his prayer life. They crafted decrees that looked righteous on the surface, but were in fact traps designed to squeeze the life out of his soul, because they understood that if he stopped praying, he would stop hearing my voice, and if he no longer heard me, the power, the sharpness, the discernment I had placed in him would gradually fade like mist before the sun. My child, darkness still uses that very same strategy on those I have chosen in every generation, and now it is using it on you. It knows that if it can disrupt your times of prayer, discourage your heart each time you open your mouth, scatter your thoughts whenever you want to turn to me, then it has touched the very lifeline of your being without having to attack anything outward. Do you notice it? My child, in these recent days it is not your body that has grown weaker, but your soul that has been stretched in a strange way. Each time you intend to pray, an invisible weariness closes in around you. Each time you want to open your mouth in worship, a weight presses down, making you want to stop, to stay silent. Each time you try to find a quiet place to talk with me, chaotic thoughts suddenly rush in like a hive of bees broken open. This is not a coincidence. It is a clear sign that darkness is trying to push into the one place it knows that, if destroyed, you will gradually lose your sense of direction. It does not need to strike you down with great suffering or great events. If it can merely touch your life of prayer, the strength within you will be eaten away little by little. But my child, just as I stood with Daniel when he was thrown into the lion's den, I am also standing with you in this hour of testing. The lions of this age do not have claws and fangs as they did before. They come in the form of discouragement, of accusations, of voices that try to convince you your prayers no longer have any effect. They come as words that wound your heart, as pressures that make you want to be silent, as unexpected events that make you wonder whether I still hear you. But I tell you that I am shutting the mouth of each one. Every accusation roaring around your soul, I make it mute. Every noisy disturbance that unsettles you, I cause it to vanish like smoke. Every dark thought that tries to cloud your vision, I sweep it away from your mind. You do not hear the sound of their silence. But I do. You do not see my arm raised to block each arrow. But I am doing it not just once, but dozens of times each day. You do not realize that the flames hurled toward you have been quenched before they could even touch your cloak. But I have stopped them from afar. There are things I have intercepted before you ever knew they were approaching. If you could see all that I have kept from reaching your life, you would know that you are not as weak as you think, and the darkness is not as strong as it wants you to believe. My child, I know you think you have lost your focus, that your heart has become unsettled, that the fervency in your prayers is no longer what it once was. But let me say this very clearly, you have not lost anything. You are simply standing in the very center of an attack meant to sever the sacred bond between you and me. Darkness does not attack empty places, it only strikes where there is value. You are being struck not because you are weak, but because your prayers carry weight in the heavenly realm. You are being distracted because the words you are about to speak can break the chains the enemy has tried to wrap around you. You are being pressed because I have placed within you a voice that can awaken others. So instead of seeing this battle as a sign that you are falling behind, see it as evidence that you are standing exactly in the place to which I have called you. My child, remember this, the strategy of darkness is not always to destroy. Many times it only wants to wear you down until you no longer desire to pray. It does not need to restrain you with visible chains. It only needs to lay upon you an invisible weight that slowly dulls your hunger for me day after day. It does not need to silence you outright. It only needs to convince you that your voice no longer matters. But I am breathing again into your soul the breath you thought you had lost. I am reviving the part of you that has been choked by anxiety, exhaustion, and discouragement. You are not someone who is failing. You are someone who is being rebuilt, being reshaped from within, so that you may step into a deeper realm of spiritual intimacy. My child, very soon there will come a day when you look back at this moment and understand that this was not a season of abandonment, but a season in which I drew you closer to my heart than ever before. The painful prayers you are praying today are the very bricks that will build your spiritual authority in the days to come. The tears you shed in silence are not wasted. They are watering the spiritual ground of your life, making it fertile. Those moments when you are so weary that you can only whisper a short sentence to me, I count those as some of the most precious prayers, because they rise from a heart that still turns toward me, even while being pushed into the shadows. My child, I declare to you that you will come out of this season unharmed. The flames that were sent to consume you will not touch you. The lions that were released to tear you apart will stand there helpless. For I have shut their mouths. The decrees that have been written against you, the plans, accusations, thoughts, and pressures will be overturned by me. You will not fall into the trap the enemy has laid. You will walk as one who has passed through the fire without carrying the smell of smoke. And my child, when you rise from this season, you will not rise merely as someone who has recovered. You will rise as someone who has been trained, sharpened, strengthened, and made far more discerning than before. You will hear my voice more deeply, discern darkness more quickly, and pray with greater power. You will clearly see that what the darkness intended to use to end you, I have used to begin a radiant new chapter in your life. You will realize that no night is thick enough to hide the light I have placed within you. My child, believe this. I never allow the greatest battles to fall upon a person who does not have the capacity to overcome them. I saw the strength inside you long before you ever noticed it. I wrote your destiny before fear ever appeared. And I have gone ahead of you in every battle, shutting the mouths of every lion, extinguishing every flame, erasing every decree raised against you. You are not alone, not abandoned, not pushed outside of my will. You belong to me, and what I have ordained over your life no one can erase. My child, sit for a moment and let your heart grow still, for what I am about to reveal is not a word of rebuke, but a word of unveiling, a doorway leading you out from under the heavy clouds you have carried on your shoulders for so long. I have seen the nights when you lay in silence, staring at the ceiling, trying to steady your breathing while your heart is full of unspoken sighs. I have seen the times you smiled at others, while inside it felt as though a fog had settled, making it hard for you to distinguish the voice of truth from the echoes of fear. You think you are slipping into the twilight of your strength, but my child, it is precisely in that place which seems to be fading out that I am preparing a dawn you could not have imagined. The enemy thinks that when you bow your head and feel you have no strength left to move forward, it is a sign you are about to give up. But, my child, it does not know that I am standing right behind you, waiting for the very moment when you are too weak to keep striving in your own strength, so that I myself may lift you up with the power of heaven. My child, remember the story of Gideon, the man whom generations after still mention as a testimony that I choose the weak things to shame the strong. When I called him, he looked around and thought I had chosen the wrong name, for he had nothing in himself to boast about. He came from an ordinary house, from the least of the tribes, and in his own family he was not someone of great importance. But look at what I did with a man who did not believe he had any value. I made him into a warrior, able to defeat an army as countless as the sand on the seashore. It was not because his own strength became great, but because he allowed me to use his smallness as the foundation for my glory. My child, the same is happening with you in this very hour. You see your fragility as a flaw, but I see it as fertile ground into which I can sow my power. My child, the enemy is not foolish enough to choose to attack you when you are at your strongest. It always aims for the moments when your heart is most tender, when your mind is so tired that lies slip in easily. It does not attack with swords and spears, but with doubt. It does not strike with storms, but with whispers that seem harmless. It makes you think that people no longer need you, that your devotion is ignored, that your prayers no longer reach my house. It wants you to put a period at the end of the very journey I began. But, my child, I tell you that not a single moment of your weakness is treated lightly by me. I do not look at your trembling to condemn you. I look at that trembling to find the very places where I can pour in more strength, more meaning, and more fire from heaven. My child, what you are facing is not a battle of the flesh, not simply someone trying to harm you or a string of unfortunate circumstances. What is taking place lies on a deeper level, the realm of spiritual warfare surrounding your life. The enemy knows it cannot touch your body while I am covering you, so it strikes at the most delicate places, your thoughts, your emotions, your relationships. It sows confusion into your heart, making you think that those who love you are turning their backs on you. It twists the tones and nuances in your conversations so that you misunderstand the hearts of others. It makes the atmosphere around you heavy so that you begin to believe you are being quietly pushed out of the community. But, my child, all of this is only a thick smoke. It is trying to pull over your eyes so that you no longer see that I am standing right beside you. My beloved child, I am speaking so that your eyes may be opened, so that you no longer have to fight in the dark. When I pull the veil away from your eyes, you will see that the enemy has only one goal: to make you walk out of the place I have set you in. It cannot force you out, so it tries to make you believe that you yourself are no longer worthy to remain. But I want you to know that no plan of darkness can rewrite the destiny I have given you. I do not withdraw my call. I do not change my purpose just because you walk through a few strong winds. You will stand firm, because I have engraved your name upon my hand. My child, the pressure you are feeling is not meant to crush you, but to refine you. Just as gold is placed in the fire to become purer, you too are passing through a spiritual furnace, not to be destroyed, but to become sharper, more discerning, more mature. You will see that after each wave of attack, the clarity within you increases. After each time you are misunderstood, you learn a deeper humility. After each heavy moment in your heart, you step closer to me. The enemy thinks it is weakening you, but I am using those very blows to build a new level of authority in your life, an authority it cannot touch. My child, I see how many times you have asked in your heart, why has everything become difficult all at once? But let me tell you something you have not yet realized. It is because you are standing at the very edge of a breakthrough. You yourself do not know you are approaching. Before every spiritual shift, there is always a storm that strikes both outwardly and inwardly, not to knock you down, but to bring you into the new season with a soul that has been forged. You are not being swept away, as the enemy hoped. You are being driven into a new depth of spiritual discernment. A person who has never known battle cannot walk in authority, and I am preparing you precisely for that. My child, I know you have used all your strength just to stand, and there have been moments when you thought your legs could no longer carry you. But look and see, you have not collapsed. You thought you were falling apart, but in truth, you are standing on a foundation I laid long ago, a foundation stronger than your emotions, stronger than your circumstances, stronger than the pressure the darkness has thrown at you. You are not being overwhelmed, because I have set a limit the darkness cannot cross. You are not shattered as you imagine, for I am gathering every fragment of you only to piece them together into a form stronger than before. You are simply passing through a moment of transformation, and every transformation carries pain, but that pain always leads to growth. My child, when this season of battle has passed, you will step into a level of maturity you have never known before. You will hear my voice more clearly, for I have stripped the noise from your ears. You will discern truth from lies more easily, because you have learned to recognize the root of every whisper. You will no longer walk by feelings, but by the spiritual understanding I have sown into you. And the most beautiful thing is this: you will know that it was not you who became stronger, but that you have learned to let me be strong within you. My child, stand up, not because you are already strong, but because I am taking you by the hand and lifting you up. Keep walking, not because you have enough strength, but because you are being covered by my strength. Open your eyes and see that I have never left you, not even for a second. You are passing through a narrow gate, but on the other side of that gate is a new authority, a deep discernment, a mature spirit, something no power of darkness can ever take from you. And when you stand in that place, you will understand that everything you have just gone through was not destruction, it was a birth. My child, let me speak to you slowly, deeply, like a father placing his hand on your shoulder and looking straight into your tired eyes. For what I am about to reveal is not to frighten you, but to open your soul, so that you may see that behind all the recent chaos there is a design of such exquisite precision that only my hand could have woven it. For the past 3 months, you have thought you were merely surviving days full of pressure, stumbling over heavy emotions and facing misunderstandings that caused your heart to close little by little. But my child, I see every movement in your spirit more clearly than you see yourself. Darkness has stalked your every step, probing every vulnerable place, watching each time you fell silent in exhaustion. And I know you have asked yourself, why has everything come at me so relentlessly? What have I done wrong? But my child, what you call the stalking of darkness is only the visible surface of a much greater battle, a battle in which I have been standing from before it began. And I have not allowed you to fight alone for even a moment. While it has been watching you, hoping to find a crack through which it could slip in. I have been watching it, every breath it breathes, every scheme it forms, every trap it sets. I see as clearly as bold letters on a page, and I have built around you invisible walls your eyes have not yet perceived. Every time you thought you were standing alone against your weariness, in truth I was holding the weight for you. I was pushing back things that, without me, could have crushed your spirit long ago. You do not see, but I see. You do not know, but I know. You are limited, but I am not. My child, darkness imagines that these past 3 months have been its golden opportunity to break you down. But let me tell you a secret. Those very 3 months have been the time in which I quietly built a strength within you that even you have not yet recognized. While it was busy scanning your every thought, I was quietly resetting each stone in the foundation of your faith when it tried to press hard upon your emotions. I used that pressure to widen your character and endurance in the spirit. When it labored to throw you off course, I gently pulled you back into the right orbit with small inner nudges that you assumed were just passing thoughts. And do you know this, my child? While darkness fixed its gaze on every weakness in you, I was looking at what you are about to become, something it cannot foresee, something that terrifies it so much that it has attacked you with both discouragement and manipulation at the same time. It imagined that by watching you long enough, it would find an opening to invade your soul. But it forgot one thing. Every corner of your inner life lies beneath my hand. Not a single step you take falls outside my covering, and not a single thought forms in you that I do not understand before it takes shape. Remember Joseph, my child, a young servant into whose heart I placed dreams far beyond human ability. 2 forces rose up against him at the same time: the jealousy of his own brothers and the vicious accusation of a scheming woman in Potiphar's house. One attacked his emotions, the other attacked his reputation. One wounded his heart, the other shattered his image before people. Everything seemed finished, as if he had been cut off from all the plans I had for him. But my child, the very place that looked like a pit became the bridge that carried Joseph to the throne. The accusations and betrayals became the stepping stones that lifted him to the position I had appointed. What the enemy used to drown him, I turned into a platform to raise him up. Do you know why I am telling you this story? Because your life is now reflecting that same sacred pattern. This is not the first time darkness has used a double-edged attack to try to remove someone I have chosen. And my child, you too are walking a similar path. My child, when I say that you are under the shadow of my wings, that is not a metaphor, it is a spiritual reality. I want you to recognize with your own spirit. I have not taken my eyes off you for even a minute, though you may be so weary you can hardly pray, though you may feel so empty that you cannot form the words. I am still there, still covering you, still pushing back the things that would harm you. You are living inside a protection that circumstances cannot see, but darkness sees it clearly. That is why it keeps trying to make you think I have turned my face away. It wants to plant in you the notion that you have been abandoned, that your prayers no longer matter, that your presence is no longer valued. But my child, I want you to engrave this deeply in your heart. Exclusion can only happen if I turn my face away, and I never have, and never will do that to you. There is nothing that can make me leave you, no failure powerful enough to make me withdraw my hand, no weariness in you heavy enough to make me lose heart concerning you. My child, I know you have felt tired. I know there have been moments when you just wanted to disappear because it seemed that every effort was misunderstood. Every word you spoke was twisted, and every piece of your heart you offered was taken lightly. I see those times when you lay still in the dark, asking why you have to walk through this season, wondering why those you trusted look at you through a lens that is not true to who you are. You think those emotions are nothing more than disappointment, but in fact they are the gusts of wind darkness wants to use to blow out the flame inside you. It knows you are approaching a very important turning point, and it wants to exhaust you before you can touch the door I am opening. It waits until you are emotionally drained, when you have no strength left to resist. When you feel alone in your very own journey, that is the moment it thinks it has found its chance to advance. But my child, it is wrong. It does not know that in the very moment you feel like you are collapsing, I am raising you up in a stronger way. In the times you are misunderstood, I deepen compassion within you. In the times you are weary, I enlarge your spiritual capacity. In the times you feel weak, I deposit in you a hidden strength that is about to be revealed. My child, I have kept silent for a season, not because I stood far away, but because I have been completing things you were not yet ready to see. I unveil this truth to you, not so that you will look back on these 3 months with bitterness, but so that you understand you have passed through an important gate. What seemed like attacks have actually been training. What you called pressure has actually been refining. What you thought was opposition has actually been pushing you into the very center of your calling. Not one of your tears has been wasted. Not one pain has been meaningless. Not one misunderstanding lies beyond my ability to use it to lift you up. You are being prepared for a breakthrough that goes beyond what you can presently envision. And everything that is happening is aligning with the path I have already set. My child, I want to take you deeper into a truth that few recognize, but which will keep you standing in the days when darkness imagines it has already prevailed. From ancient times, I have never allowed those I choose to walk into battle without knowing what they are facing. I do not push you into the midst of a storm and then stand back to watch you stagger. On the contrary, I always go before you, make a way before you, and warn you ahead of time, so that you do not fall into traps laid in hidden places. Just as long ago, when the king of Aram secretly plotted against Israel, he believed his plans were so well concealed that no one could possibly uncover them. Yet, I revealed every move to Elisha, the one I chose to be, my eyes for my people. The king grew furious because all his schemes were exposed, to the point that he suspected a traitor in his own court. But it was not so. My child, it was because Elisha lived in unity with my voice, and nothing in the darkness could be hidden from him. In the same way, I am teaching you to step into a place where you can hear me in the stillness of your spirit, where I whisper things the enemy imagines it has perfectly concealed. It huddles with its forces in hidden corners, hoping to devise a strategy clever enough to lead you astray. But I shatter all its secrets with the light I have placed in your soul. You think you are just a small person, but you do not know that I am training you to see through the layers of fog that darkness spreads. My child, I do not let you walk in a haze. I shine light so that you can see lines and patterns others may not notice. That is the grace I have set apart for you, so that you will not stumble over things that appear accidental, but are in fact traps carefully prepared. Do you know why I let you perceive these movements in the unseen realm? Because I do not want you to think you are fighting alone. The enemy longs for you to feel isolated, to believe that no one understands your inner struggle, that no one sees the blows landing in every corner of your mind. But my child, I want to erase that lie right here. You have never had to stand against these forces by yourself. For I have always stationed around you a spiritual army far greater than anything trying to make you fall. If you look only with natural eyes, you will see anxieties, pressures, and wounding words rushing in, just as Elisha's servant once trembled when he saw the enemy's army surrounding the city. But when I touched his eyes, when I lifted the lids of his spiritual sight, he saw chariots of fire arrayed on every side, not to observe, but to protect. My child, what I did for him that day, I am doing for you today, opening your eyes so you may see that you are not the one being hemmed in. You are the one standing in the very center of heaven's protection. my child. Do not let these attacks coming at you from both sides make you think you are losing ground. The two forces that are trying to shake you are nothing more than two whispers in a small room. While my host is a thunderous roar stretching across the whole sky, they may threaten you with distorted images and dark scenarios projected into your mind, but they cannot cross the boundary that I myself have set. You have walked through long days when your heart has been full of questions. Why is this happening? Why do I feel cornered? Why does everything feel heavier than usual? My child, that is not a sign that I have abandoned you. It is a sign that I am opening your eyes to recognize the true battlefield on which you are standing. You are not under attack because you are weak. You are under attack because you are carrying something that darkness fears deeply, the awakening of your spirit. The more you come to know the truth, the more their power fades, and so they are forced to rise up more fiercely in this final hour. Just before you step into a new depth of the power I am giving you, my child, come and sit close to me so that I may speak this more clearly to you. I am giving you the ability to sense even the slightest tremors in the spiritual realm, not so that you will be afraid, but so that you will not be caught off guard when the enemy strikes. When the inner turmoil within your soul increases, when strange voices rise up and try to pull you down, that is the moment when I am urging you to incline your ear toward me to hear more clearly. I never let you pass through a dark region without a lamp to guide your steps. You think that what is happening today is nothing more than ordinary circumstances, a few relationships becoming strained, your sleep growing heavy, a few thoughts suddenly turning negative. But my child, in the depths of the unseen realm, this is the time when two forces of darkness are striving together to try to cut off the destiny I have placed inside you. They cannot attack you face to face, for my protection over you is stronger than any means they possess. So they resort to the only path left to them, to sow a seed of doubt in your heart, so that you yourself withdraw from the position I have entrusted to you. But I declare to you in this hour, the light I have placed within you is greater than any scheme. I do not only scatter lies, I break apart the strategies forged in darkness before they can reach you. I hear the enemy's whisper before it is spoken. I see its move before its hand touches the board. And I reveal these things to you, not so that you will become so watchful that you are worn out, but so that you may live in freedom, the freedom of one who knows they have been warned, sheltered, and led. My child, do you know how precious this privilege is? You are carrying within you an awakening that not everyone has. And this is what makes you a target. But this is also what makes you the one I can trust to receive even greater things. My child, I never allow you to be driven into a dead end, no matter how hard the enemy strives, no matter how many invisible walls it tries to build. I am always standing between those walls and you. I do not protect you only with angels. I protect you also with revelation so that you may know what is unfolding before it breaks out. When you feel your heart restless and you do not know why, it is because I am knocking at the door of your spirit to let you know that something is shifting behind the curtain of the spiritual realm. When you sense a gentle yet deep alertness, that is me, not fear. I want you to learn to discern the difference between my warning and the intimidation of darkness, so that you do not confuse them and fall into bewilderment. My child, do not stop at the feeling of being attacked. Step up into the awareness that you have been placed among the ranks of those who see what others do not see. Do not grow discouraged when you realize that certain evil things have been set in place against you. Rejoice that I uncover them before they can take shape. Do not tremble before lies that are conspired in the shadows of the night. Remember that I am the one who exposes the night with a single word. These two forces united against you are nothing but a faint echo in the vastness of my armies. And when you stand within that circle of light, you will see that not one of your steps is ever taken alone, and not a single moment of your life lies outside of my plan. My child, I want you to walk with a new confidence, not confidence in your own strength, but in what I have revealed to you. You are not under attack because you are unknown. You are under attack because you bear my mark. You are not pressed on every side because you are useless. You are pressed because you are carrying my word into places where darkness does not want the light to reach. But look back every time the enemy thought it had hemmed you in. I opened your eyes to see that it was in fact the one surrounded by my glory. And when you see this, my child, every fear will melt away, every confusion will fall off, and every lie will lose its power. You will walk in the peace of one who knows they are guarded by heaven from every side. My own child, I not only bring you out of those plots, I also lead you into a deeper understanding of my love and my covering. When you grasp this, you will no longer tremble at the sound of approaching footsteps from the dark. You will stand firm, because you know that behind you stands the army of heaven. You will no longer live in the fear of being attacked. You will live in the awareness that you have already overcome before the battle begins. For I am the one who goes before you, the one who is with you, and the one who comes after you. You are surrounded by me before you, behind you, to your left, to your right, above you, and beneath your feet. And my child, this is why I speak to you and say the two forces aiming at you are nothing compared to the host that covers you. You only need to keep walking forward, for I am already standing in your future, and I am calling you from ahead, my child. Do not be afraid. I am waiting for you in victory. My child, I want you to open your heart like soft soil beneath the first rain of the season, so that every word I am about to speak can seep down to the deepest roots of your soul. For what you are going through is not just a passing feeling, nor merely a few small disturbances appearing on a weary day. It is a deliberate attack, carefully calculated, aimed at the most vulnerable place in you, your trust in the calling I have placed within you. The enemy knows that if it cannot touch your life itself, it will try to slip into your soul through words laced with spiritual poison, words crafted with subtle skill, spoken at the very moment when you are weakest, at the exact time when you feel the smallest. And when those words reach inside, they do not remain like meaningless sounds. They become seeds with a corrupt kind of life, trying to drive their roots deep into your mind, growing into countless inner battles within you. They confuse you about your own worth, cause you to question the purity of the very calling I have given you, and make you doubt what I spoke to you from the very beginning. This is exactly what the enemy wants, not to knock you down through outward violence, but to make you slowly wear yourself out in silent wars within your own thoughts. But my child, I want you to know that I have seen every thorn flung into your life in the form of words. I see the phrases that make your heart ache, the ones you do not dare to share with anyone. I see the situations where you feel misunderstood, misjudged, belittled, and looked down upon. And I see the moments when you turn away to hide your tears because you do not want anyone to think you are too sensitive. But I know it all, and I speak this with the authority that is mine. Not a single toxic word is allowed to take root in your heart if you let me stand between you and those words. I do not permit them to carry the power you think they have. I remove their sting. I set the limit for how deep they can go into your heart. And the reason you remain standing is not because you are so strong, but because I shielded you before you even heard those words. My child, I want to remind you of what happened to my son, for he is the pattern of what you are facing. As he walked in spotless holiness, as he lived with pure and perfect purpose, as he healed the sick and set the oppressed free, the enemy knew that if it wanted to hinder his work of salvation, it could not use crude violence alone. So it used words, distorting words, accusing words, slanderous words. It stirred the Pharisees to rise up against him, not with the aim of honest debate, but to make him misunderstood before the people, to make him appear as a lawbreaker, a deceiver of the crowds, a fraud. They said many things about him, and none of them were true. And when words were not enough, darkness turned to betrayal through Judas, the one who had been beside him, shared his table, and witnessed his miracles. The enemy knows that no one can wound as deeply as the one we once trusted. But my child, listen to me say this deep into your heart: every accusation, every act of betrayal, every plan to remove him was under my control. The enemy thought it was winning when it drove him to the cross, but the cross itself became his greatest victory, the place where darkness believed it had written the final ending. I turned into the beginning of restoration for all humanity. And this, my child, does not belong to him alone. It is the pattern I am using in your life as well. My child, I want you to understand this with a deep and quiet peace. What is spoken against you has no right to define you. Those words do not paint the true picture of your worth. They do not alter the nature of the calling I placed in you before the foundation of the world. The enemy hopes that through harsh and bitter words it can push you out of the position I gave you. It hopes that by making you doubt yourself, you will step away from your path. It hopes that by wounding your heart, you will pull back your love, close the doors of your soul, and stop walking in your calling. But my child, I broke that plan long before it ever took shape. I have touched your heart again and again, so that those poisonous words could not take root. I have brushed aside judgments before they could harden your heart. I have stood between you and malicious words, so they could not pierce the deepest places in you. And I am doing this even now. In this very moment, as you read these words, my child, let me speak to you with gentleness, yet with power. Every word that tries to tear you down will become evidence that glorifies my name in your life. When they say you are not enough, I will reveal my sufficiency in you. When they say you are unworthy, I will prove that my choice can never be wrong. When they try to distort your image, I will use you yourself to bring light into the dark places. When they build a false story about you, I will write a new story over you that they cannot erase. My child, the words that try to force your head to bow will become the very reason I lift you up. The accusations that try to block your path will become the very material I use to open new doors. The mockery that is meant to shame you will become the crown I place upon your head. The enemy wants to reduce you to ashes, but I will use those very ashes as rich soil for what I am about to birth. There are moments when you feel pierced through, wounded, misunderstood to the point that you want to give up. There are times when the words of others feel heavier than the burdens in your own heart. But my child, I will not allow those voices to sit on the throne of your life. I will not allow them to become a blade cutting into your soul. I will not allow them to become the main voice you hear each day. I am teaching you to discern which voice is mine and which is the enemy's, so that you will no longer be tossed about by sounds that come from the shadows. My child, remember that the cross, what the world sees as the place of an ending, is in fact the very place where life begins. Therefore I say this to you, the very things the enemy intends to use to finish, you will become the place where I bring a new breakthrough within you. What it plans to use to shame you will become the place where I set my glory. What it plans to use to silence you will cause your voice to carry farther. What it plans to use to make you stumble will become the stepping stone by which you rise. And what it plans to use to extinguish your hope will become a new flame in your soul. My child, you do not stand alone when you face words that wound you. I stand with you. I shield you. I cover your soul. I hear every painful breath that rises from your heart, and I heal it with my presence. You do not lose your place because of what people say. You only lose your place when you forget what I have spoken. But today I remind you, you belong to me. Your destiny is written by my hand, and no word from the darkness is strong enough to rewrite what I have already signed. When you truly grasp this, my child, every word that seeks to make you waver will lose its meaning. You will no longer tremble before judgment. You will no longer be shaken by mockery. You will no longer shrink back for fear of being misunderstood. You will walk in the peace of one who knows that heaven itself is affirming you. You will stand amid conflicting words without losing your identity, because your identity does not come from the mouths of people, it comes from my mouth. And my child, I want you to remember this as a seal upon your heart. Every word that seeks to destroy you will become a testimony of how I have protected you. Every plan that aims to pull you down will become the reason I lift you up. Every scheme that tries to silence you will make your voice sound forth with greater force. And every attempt to remove you will become proof that you carry a calling too great for the darkness to ignore. My beloved child, rise and stand with a courageous heart, not because you are strong, but because I am the one who protects you, not because the words of people have grown lighter, but because my word carries greater weight, not because the enemy has ceased his work, but because I myself stand in between so that he cannot cross the boundary I have drawn. You are not alone in this battle. I am with you. And when I am with you, no word, no plan, no power can rewrite the story I am writing in your life. You need only keep moving forward, and I will bring the rest to completion. My child, if your heart is still quiet enough to listen further, I will continue to speak. For there are depths you have not yet walked into, and there are layers of truth I desire to gently place into the deepest places of your spirit. Do not think that what I have just spoken is enough for the whole journey, for when I build a person, I do not build them with a few scattered stones. I build them upon a whole foundation, and that foundation must be poured again and again, one layer upon another, each level made firm. Therefore, my child, let me go on speaking, so that your heart may know how to stand when the days ahead draw near, and so that you may understand that the preparation I have for you is greater than what you have asked of me. My child, in this season, as discernment within you grows sharper, you will recognize that some things you once thought harmless have in fact been draining your soul. Not every kindness is truthful, not every show of concern is born of good intent, and not everyone who comes close to you carries light. Yet, my child, do not let this make you lock the doors of your heart. I do not want you to become someone who is guarded against everything. I want you to become someone who is sober and awake in love. You can love without falling into traps. You can be generous without being exploited. You can open your heart and still remain under my protection. This is not a strength learned from this world. It is a strength that has matured in my presence. My child, I will open your eyes to see who are the ones that tend the fire within you, and who are the ones that blow it out, who are the ones that pull you upward, and who are the ones that drag you down, who comes to uphold you, and who comes simply to watch when you will fall. These things are not revealed to hurt you, but so that you may choose rightly who will walk with you in this new season. For one who carries a calling cannot walk closely with those who only wish to keep them small. I will not allow you to bind your life to relationships that lead you away from what I have entrusted to you. You are destined to rise, not to remain forever within the comfort zone where others wish to hold you. My child, remember this: deeply exposure is my act of protection, not my act of punishment. I uncover hidden motives so that you will no longer entrust your soul to hands that cannot keep it. I shine light on what is still concealed so that you will not be twisted by half-truths and half-lies. I uncover plans formed in the dark, not to make you tremble, but to position you in the very place I have prepared for you, a place no one can push you from, a place written into my eternal purpose. My child, I know there are times when you feel opposition increasing, not from strangers, but from places where you never thought it would arise. I know you are in pain. I know you are disappointed. I know you wonder whether you have done something wrong. But my child, those reactions are not a mirror of your value. They are simply the reaction of darkness when it realizes you are growing beyond the territory where it wanted to keep you. When I lift you up, the things that cannot go with you will naturally fall away. Some things you consider loss are in truth your deliverance. Some people you thought were your pillars were only temporary supports, and I will not allow what is temporary to block what is eternal. My child, though darkness stirs and agitates, I still hold you in my presence like a child in their father's arms. Unrest on the outside cannot change the heartbeat within my chest. You have been sealed by my Holy Spirit, which means you are not lost in the crowd and not swept along by the current. There is a mark upon you that tells the enemy, you belong to me. And that is why it strives to weaken you. It cannot touch your spirit, so it tries to strike your peace. It cannot destroy your destiny, so it attacks your joy. It cannot take away your calling, so it works to blur your vision. But my child, every area it tries to strike is the very place where I am resetting each stone. I am lifting you above the heavy thoughts that once crushed you. I am placing clarity in your mind so that you can recognize schemes from afar and not fall into them. I am removing the heavy stones you once mistook as parts of yourself. I am standing in for you in places where you do not have the strength to stand. I am fighting battles for you that you have not even known were being waged. I do not require you to be strong every day, yet I will not permit you to collapse in the days of your weariness. The strength I am pouring into the weakest places in you is not the strength of human will, it is the strength of my presence, which darkness has no access to. My child, I know there are days when you want to be silent, because you think silence will spare you from unnecessary complications. But my child, the silence that darkness wants to plant in you is not the stillness I give, it is paralysis. I want you to be silent so that you may hear me, not so that your voice will be swallowed up. You were created to speak, to stand, to reveal, to carry spiritual influence, and that is what makes the darkness afraid. It knows that as soon as you open your mouth under my leading, every chain will break, every wall will fall, and every darkness will have to retreat. My child, I am placing a new oil upon your head, not the oil you received yesterday, but the oil you need for this new season. This oil sharpens your spiritual senses so that you can recognize truth. This oil keeps you from staggering before sudden events. This oil guards your heart from being contaminated by bitterness. This oil causes courage within you to rise like a fire that cannot be quenched. This oil turns the very places where you once hesitated into the ground on which you now walk with the greatest confidence. You may ask yourself, why do I have to go through so much opposition before entering a new season? My child, it is because opposition exposes the true nature of what does not belong to you. It filters out insincere relationships, sifts out hidden motives, and removes thoughts that do not come from me. Through this, you will step into the new season lighter, purer, more focused, no longer weighed down by the things that slow you. My child, I am reshaping the very center of your focus. You once fixed your attention on the opinions and chatter of others, but now I am setting your mind on my voice. You once placed your joy in outward things, but now I am placing your joy in the connection between you and me. You once leaned on the gaze of people, but now I want you to lean on my gaze. When you are no longer adjusted by the noise around you, you will begin to hear my voice so clearly that you will no longer confuse what is truth and what is deception. My child, in my hands, everything the enemy brings against you becomes material to build you. It aims at your focus, but I use that to open your eyes. It stirs up your heart, but I use that to awaken in you a hunger for true stillness. It makes you anxious. But I use that to teach you to lean on me instead of on your own strength. It makes you feel insufficient. But I use that to show you that I am always enough for you. Every single thing that seemed sent to harm you becomes a hammer in my hand to shatter the old limitations within you. And my child, when you pass through this season, you will no longer be who you were before. You will no longer be easily shaken. You will no longer fear the gaze of others. You will no longer be pulled by everything that merely sounds right. You will become a person of discernment, a person of strength, a person of stability, one whom darkness must take seriously. You will not walk in trembling, but with the quiet confidence of one who knows they are perfectly protected. And then you will see that everything you have gone through was not sent to exhaust you, but to mature you in ways only I know you truly need. My child, this is the season in which I am resetting everything in your life, your mind, your heart, your relationships, your perception, your voice, your focus. Nothing escapes my hand once I have decided to prepare you for something greater. And I declare to you that you are growing strong precisely where you thought you were about to break. You are being restored at the exact point where you felt the weakest. You are being enlarged in the very place where you thought you were shrinking. You are being lifted up right where you believed you were being pushed down. And my child, none of this is happening because you are deserving, but because you are loved. Not because you are perfect, but because you belong to me. Not because you are strong, but because I am strong on your behalf. And from this day forward, you will walk as someone who knows that the storms do not come to destroy you, but to prove that the foundation I have laid beneath your feet is real, my beloved child. Because your heart has opened and is willing to receive the depths of truth, I will continue to unfold before you the sacred picture that is playing out behind what your eyes can see. I know you long to understand why trials keep following one after another like a stream that refuses to stop flowing, and why slander and distortion aimed at you seem to appear right when you are trying to walk faithfully in the path I have marked out. I know you have asked within, Lord, why do I have to go through so much? Why does everything seem to be against me? And my child, because I hear that sigh, I all the more want you to understand deeply that there is no opposition that takes place outside my sight, no scheme of darkness that is formed without my knowing it beforehand. You are not living inside chaos. You are living inside a story for which I am the author. And I have already written the ending, even while you are still in the middle of the journey. My child, let me tell you this long before you knew how to call my name, long before you understood what it meant to pray. I had already seen the battlefield you would have to cross. I saw the level ground where you would walk lightly, and I also saw the dark valleys where the voice of darkness would try to make you forget my voice. But I have never led you into a place of testing only to abandon you there. If you feel darkness pressing in, it is because you are very close to a door I am about to open for you, a door the enemy knows so well that it must try to block you at any cost. And because it cannot break down that door, it turns to breaking down your will, attacking your spirit, making you weary, making you doubt yourself, and tempting you to leave the path before you reach the moment of breakthrough. My child, every time you stand on the edge of a transition, there will always be two voices that arise. One voice comes from truth, from me, and one voice comes from darkness, from lies. My voice is gentle yet firm. The voice of darkness is full of pressure, urgency, and panic. My voice leads you into peace, even when circumstances are shaking. The other voice makes you restless even when everything around you seems quiet. My voice lifts you up. The other voice makes you feel guilty, useless, and unworthy. And my child, I want you to distinguish clearly so that you never confuse the voice that seeks to crush you with my voice, the voice that always builds you up. My child, when I say that you are not alone, That is not just a word of comfort, it is a solid truth proven through generations. When I open my mouth and say that every scheme formed against you will not succeed, that is not a vague promise. It is what I have done with every one of those in the spiritual lineage you inherit. Remember Daniel, he was not saved because he was strong. He was saved because he belonged to me. Remember Elijah, he was not lifted up because he never grew weary. He was lifted up because I did not allow threatening voices to destroy him. Remember Job, he was not restored because he understood everything. He was restored because he refused to let go of me in his deepest pain. And you, my child, will be kept in the same way, because I do not change, and my love for you does not fade. My child, sometimes you think you are enduring trials, but in truth you are being shaped by them. I do not allow trials to break you down, but to refine you into someone stronger than you ever imagined you could be. Just as gold must pass through fire to shine, just as steel must endure the hammer to become firm, so your soul must pass through seasons of impact in order to become steadfast in the authority I have given you. You are not being crushed, you are being built. You are not being dragged down, you are being positioned to see what I have prepared for you. And my child, if you could see everything I am doing behind the scenes, you would never fear the dark again. My child, I know there are days when your heart feels like a field that has been plowed up. Every emotion feels tangled. Every thought runs in unpredictable directions. And things that once seemed simple suddenly feel heavy. Yet it is in those very days that I am sowing into your heart seeds you cannot see at once, seeds of perseverance, seeds of strong faith, seeds of lasting peace, seeds of spiritual discernment. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that it was precisely that season of turned-up soil that caused something great to sprout in your life. Pain is never wasted. It always carries a purpose that only light can fully understand. My child, remember that darkness only attacks what it is afraid to lose. It does not touch what is of no value. It does not chase those who carry no assignment. It circles only around those who hold keys that open something greater in the spiritual realm. And you are one of those people. The enemy sees the boldness in your voice, sees the light in your soul, sees the movement I am stirring in your spirit. It sees what I placed in you long before you ever saw yourself clearly. That is why it tries every way to push you out of the place I have given you through slow dripping weariness, needless misunderstandings, and pressures that never truly belong to you. But my child, I declare that you will not walk away. You will not be shaken loose. You will not sink beneath the waves. You will stand firm because I am the one holding you. My child, when I place a person into my plan, I do not wait for that person to be perfect. I see into the deepest places of your soul, the places where you still hesitate, where you are still afraid, where you still lack confidence, and I love those very parts. For I know that when you are weak, there is room for me to show my strength. When you have no strength left, I have the opportunity to carry you. When you are weary, I have every reason to draw near and raise you up with my breath. Never think that your frailty is the reason I would leave you. It is precisely your frailty that becomes the bridge for me to touch you. You do not disappoint me when you are tired. You only cause me to love you more deeply, because I see you still trying to follow my voice, even when you feel anything but strong. And my child, I want you to grasp one more thing, something very important. Every plan of darkness has limits, but I do not. The schemes of the enemy are always limited by time, by power, and by its finite understanding. It cannot see as far as I see. It cannot rule the future as I hold it. It cannot rewrite the destiny I have inscribed over your life. By contrast, my plan is eternal, irreversible, indelible, and cannot be replaced. Therefore, even when you feel darkness, tightening its grip. Remember that it only operates within the boundaries I allow, and I only allow what will serve your good. If I let something come, it is not to destroy you, but to strengthen you. No trial escapes my control. No pain exists that I do not know how to heal. No tear falls that I do not wipe away. My child, I know you long to see a clear and immediate change. But there are works I am doing in the deepest parts of your soul, places where the results do not appear overnight. Your mind is being renewed little by little. Your heart is being fortified layer by layer. Your spiritual discernment is being sharpened through every battle you walk through. That is why I am not in a hurry. Because I am building a foundation that no storm will ever be able to topple. You are not just being led into a new place. You are being transformed into a stronger version of yourself. And that process will always take time. My child, one day you will stand on a higher place. And when you look back, you will see that every scheme the enemy thought he raised up to strike you down, I have used to build you up. You will see that every word meant to threaten you has become a lesson that teaches you to discern the true voice from the false. You will see that every dark stretch has taught you how to lean on me instead of leaning on your emotions. You will see that every shaken relationship has helped you learn how to choose the right people. You will see that every season of loneliness has made you know that my presence is enough for you. And then you will understand that nothing in this journey has been in vain. My child, remember this: I am the one who leads you through every valley. Not for you to remain there, but so that you may know that even in the lowest place, I am still the light. My beloved child, now open your heart deeply to hear the ending I have prepared for you, not as a full stop, but as the dawn that breaks after a long night. You have passed through layers of hidden battles, where the enemy tried to slip into your every breath with discouragement and invisible control, where voices mingled with the noise of everyday life tried to make you think you were standing alone, that you were growing weaker, that you had drifted outside the orbit I designed for you. But my child, what the darkness could never foresee is that I always go one step ahead of it. I always hold the whole story that it can never rewrite, and every blow it throws only makes my hand grip you tighter, covering you with a presence it can never pierce. You think the darkness has been surrounding you, but in reality it is I who have been surrounding the darkness, making all its schemes meaningless before they can ever become wounds in your heart. My child, whenever the enemy sends out two forces to try to choke the breath out of you, I immediately send my presence to stop every wave of attack it wants to launch. It thinks that by combining discouragement with manipulation, it can build an invisible wall that makes your feet grow weary, your thoughts grow dim, and your heart sink in silent heaviness. But know this: every time it does that, I again join together my revelation and my protection, like two arms of my very self covering your soul. I do not leave you to flounder among lying voices. I open your eyes to see which is my voice, and which is the voice of the power that is trying to make you lose yourself. I expose what it sketches in the dark. I shine light on what it tries to hide. And I give you discernment to recognize the way out, even when you stand at a crossroads that seems to have no path. My child, there are nights when it whispers in your ear that you are no longer strong enough, that you are on the wrong road, that you have disappointed me, that you have been left behind. But I lift you up by quietly placing within you a new strength, a new breath, a new steadfastness that even you do not understand how you are still standing in the storm. When it tries to wear your heart down, I place in you a new will forged in trial. When it makes you lose direction, I lay my hand on your head and realign the spiritual compass it tried to twist. When it tries to create distance between you and the ones I have placed beside you, I surround you again with people whose hearts truly belong to me. People who see your value when you cannot see it in yourself. You think you have fallen into isolation, but in truth, I am rearranging the relationships around you, removing voices that are not from me and placing beside you those who know how to walk with you in the right way. My child, understand that not a single plan the enemy builds in the dark escapes my scrutiny. It thinks that the whispers it sows in the hearts of others can wound you, that the misunderstandings it creates can make you fall. But I bring everything out into the light, and I do this not so that you may see how weak it is, but so that you may know how strong I am. What it builds with deceit, I tear down with truth. What it raises up with threats, I undo with peace. What it sends out like a verdict, I turn into a new declaration over your destiny. It sows fear into your life, but I sow courage into your heart. It gathers dark clouds around you, but I part the clouds with a ray of light that no power can cover. My child, even in the moments when you feel the weakest, I am doing the mightiest work for you. When you sit there with trembling hands, not knowing how to take the next step, I am standing right behind you, placing my hand on your shoulder, imparting to you a strength you cannot create by yourself. When you bow your head thinking you have nothing left worth offering, I see inside you a small flame still burning, and I breathe on it until it flares into a light that makes the darkness tremble. I never allow a single tear of yours to fall in vain, nor a single gust of discouragement to carry you off the path I have set for you. You must remember that your strength does not lie in your emotions, but in the one who holds you. And that one I, myself, will never let go of your hand. My child, I know there are times when you ask why I do not end the battle at once, why I let you pass through such long seasons of storm. But my child, there are strengths that can only be formed in the environment you thought was the line between standing and collapsing. I do not want you to be strong only when conditions are favorable. I want you to be so strong that even a long night cannot hide your direction, that slander cannot make you forget your worth, that the plans of darkness cannot drag you off the path I have drawn. True strength does not come from ease. It comes from meeting me in the very things that seemed as though they would crush you. And in such encounters, you grow, you sharpen, and you become more dangerous to the darkness. My child, remember that darkness only wins when you trust it more than you trust me. It has power only where you hand it power. It can forge chains only when you agree to wear them. But when you choose to stand in my light, every snare it sets up dissolves by itself. For my presence is the one thing it cannot drive back wherever I stand. It must retreat 7 steps wherever I decree. Its words become empty, echo, wherever I set my foot. That ground belongs to me and belongs to you because you walk in my name. You are not fighting to gain victory. You are fighting from the victory I have already given. You are not merely trying to survive. You are walking in the abundant life that no power can steal from you. My child, when it tries to isolate you, I place you in my arms. When it tries to choke your voice, I turn up the volume of my voice within you. When it wants to push you out of the place where you stand, I root your feet like a tree with deep roots in good soil. When it wants to make you afraid, I soften your heart with a peace that surpasses every kind of understanding you have ever known. And when it thinks it has ambushed you with darkness, I rise up as the radiant creator, shining my light into every hidden corner and turning the very battle it raised against you into a testimony of my protection. My child, this is what I want you to engrave deeply into your soul. You do not walk alone. Do not fight alone. Do not endure alone. Do not fall alone. Every time the enemy advances 1 step, I advance 10. Every time it forms a plan, I have already opened a way of escape beforehand. Every time it thinks you are alone, I have placed an angel on your left and on your right. Every time it tries to ruin what I build, I turn that very thing into material to build something new. You think it is winning, But in truth, every one of its moves only reveals the victory I prepared for you before you even knew this battle existed. So, my child, let your heart be at peace. I am covering you with the shadow of my wings, surrounding you with my presence, and leading you into a new season where the enemy cannot lay a hand on you. It has tried in every way to make you weak, but I have made you strong. It wanted you isolated, but I have surrounded you. It hoped you would live in fear, but I have placed boldness within you. And in everything it does, you will see one thing: darkness does not have the final word. I am the one who speaks the final word over your life. Now, my child, let your heart be opened wide and turned wholly toward me, and lift up to me the truest cry of prayer from the deepest part of your soul. O Almighty God, you who open my eyes to see what is hidden, today I come before you with a heart that trembles yet is sincere. I know that I can never face the schemes of darkness unless you light my path step by step. Please teach me to discern your voice among the countless mingled voices, so that I am not shaken by deceitful whispers. Please cover my mind with peace from heaven, so that no hidden arrow can pierce my heart. I take refuge under your wings, fully convinced that every secret plan raised against me will be exposed by you before it can take shape. O Lord, Eternal One, I thank you for not letting me walk in obscurity, but giving me clarity before every movement of darkness. Please continue to open the eyes of my spirit so that I may see your armies surrounding me like a fortress that nothing can break through. I ask that you cause every accusation, every scheme, every manipulation to vanish under your light. Please grant me steadfastness so that I am not shaken by the two forces that are trying to bring me down. I stand in your mercy and believe that nothing can snatch me from that eternal keeping. O Almighty Lord, I thank you for opening my eyes to see the things I once thought I faced alone. I thank you for exposing the enemy's schemes right before they touched me, and for granting me the authority to see through what was hidden in darkness. I know that without you, I would have fallen into traps without even knowing it. I know that every bit of discernment I have comes from your grace. Thank you for covering me with an army of angels so that I can stand firm in the midst of the storm. O good Father, I thank you for not letting me walk in spiritual dimness. You have shown me that the two forces standing against me are only a faint echo before the vast sky of your glory. I thank you for shielding me from every hidden plan, every poisonous word, everything that tries to drag me off the path you have ordained. I thank you because you are always at work, even when I cannot see it. I lift this gratitude to you, for you are the one who watches over me without ceasing. I offer this prayer in the holy name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong and vibrant community of faith.